Hello and welcome to another episode of Ewell Acres. Today we're going to continue on with our gardening discussions by talking about how to save money with gardening by making your own seedling mix. Let's get started. As a quick side note, before we jump into our main topic, if you like what we're doing, if you're getting value out of these videos, please don't forget to subscribe, click on that bell for notification. Not only does it help us out with the YouTube algorithm, but it helps us to more spread these videos, so that way we can learn from each other, with each other. Now, when you're looking at doing a small seedling mix, there's two ways that people typically go about doing it. The most common way people probably do that is they're going to go down to their local big box store, the garden center, and they're going to buy a bag of seedling mix. Small bags can range anywhere between $5-6. Your really big bags can go up to $15-16. If you're doing 1-2 flats, a small amount, this is not a huge hindrance. It is going to be more economical to go ahead and purchase the bag of soil or the bag of the seedling mix. But if you've got your own greenhouse, if you're planting en masse, then it's going to be much more cost effective to make your own seedling mix. Now, typically what consists of a seedling mix is going to be a very light, fluffy soil, generally a soilless media that is not going to have a bunch of soil, bark bits, fertilizer, things like that in it. Because when you're doing seedlings, you need a very light, fluffy mixture, so that way the roots can go through, not get clogged up, not be root bound. It's going to be very easy for it to grow. Also, you're not going to receive a lot of nutrients, because when you're dealing with that amount of area, most of the nutrients in the seedling is already contained in the seed for the first couple weeks. So it's not like you're going to need a whole lot of fertilizer for those seedlings until it's at least a couple weeks old. So typically, when you're looking at a seedling mix, there's going to be a couple main components that you're going to have in it. The first and the most material that's going to be made up of it is going to be either peat moss or coconut coir, both of which have their advantages and disadvantages. Coconut coir is going to be the outer husk of a coconut, and peat moss is going to be mined from the bogs. They're both going to basically do the exact same thing. I personally go with peat moss just because it's more readily available in my area and I find it a little bit cheaper. Most of the sources that I've seen for the coconut coir also have another small disadvantage, is that it has a slightly higher salt content, because a lot of the coconuts are stored in salt water, and that salt content is then soaked up by that. And when you're dealing with seedlings, the least amount of salt you need, the better. So that's why I personally chose peat moss. Either one, though, works perfectly fine. The next item that you're typically going to find in a seedling mix is going to be perlite. It is an expanded volcanic rock material that is really porous. It's going to help make it so the peat moss or the coconut coir does not compress. It helps to expand that so you don't deal with compression issues. And it's going to allow with some excess water drainage, so that way your seedlings don't drown. But also it's going to allow with air, because it really needs air when it's first starting out. Because sometimes when you're first doing seedlings, it has a tendency to get over water. So that helps to prevent that. The next item that you're going to have in that mixture is going to be vermiculite. Once again, it's going to be an expanded rock limestone material, except it tends to be a little bit more flat. And that is going to be added to help out with water retention, as well as air as well. So both of those sound similar, but they are drastically different, but both are necessary and help a lot. As a final component, sometimes if you're doing longer term additions, some people will add vermicompost for a little bit of a low grade nutrient fertilizer, as well as to help get some microbial bacteria added, so when you go to transplant those, it helps it out. But that particular part I don't consider necessary. The main parts that I consider necessary are going to be peat moss or coconut coir, vermiculite, and perlite. How I personally like to do those is a ratio of 5 parts coconut coir or peat moss to 1 part perlite to 1 part vermiculite, as in a 5-to-1 ratio. If I add vermiculite, I go ahead and add another half part of that. Now, these exact numbers aren't crucial. It's whatever personally works well for you. Now, how is it that this is going to be much more cost effective by making your own seedling mix versus purchasing it? Like I mentioned before, if you're doing small bags, 8-quart bag in my area, I can buy it for $5 to $6. If I'm doing a bigger bag, it's going to cost me $10 to $15 for a 16-quart bag. Roughly, when you're doing the calculations, that's going to be about 30 quarts per 1 cubic foot in volume. So in my personal area, I'm able to purchase these 3 items in bulk. Let's go ahead and do some rough calculations. For me, I can get a 3 cubic foot bale of peat moss for approximately $17. And I can get a 4 cubic foot giant bag of vermiculite for about $23. And I can get a 4 cubic foot bag of perlite for approximately $16. When you go ahead and add all of those together, I'm looking at approximately $60 for 11 cubic feet worth of material, or it cost me $60 to make up 11 cubic feet worth of seedling mixed soil. Now, if I were to take those exact same numbers of 11 cubic feet worth of material and purchase the pre-made bags and combine it, that would cost me approximately $250. So you're looking at a comparison of $250 versus $60. It is a huge major difference. So like I said, if you're just doing a flat or 2, go ahead, buy the bag, not a big deal. But if you're going to go ahead and be planting in bulk, please save yourself some money. $60 for 11 cubic feet. That is a steal of a deal. But like I said, that's in my own personal area. It could vary based on your other local areas. But that is as of spring of 2021. So now that we've went ahead and talked about that, let us know, what is it that you like doing in your seedling mixes? Have I on the right track? Would you agree that this is a great seedling mix? Would you add or take away some of your own things? Let us know in the comments below what your personal thoughts are. Thank you so much for joining us today as we went ahead and took a look at how to save a tremendous amount of money by making your own seedling mix. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. We are really glad you're here, and we look forward to seeing you next time.